This is a video series where I attempt to reach first on the Pokémon Showdown ladder. Inside this series, I provide post-game commentary so you can see my thoughts along the way. So if you want to see what goes on in one of the best Pokemon players' heads, you are going to want to watch this video. So right off the bat, our first battle was up against an Ogerpon, and I was kind of looking at this and I was like, shoot, man, I don't really know like what I can do up against this, because it's just a little bit weird, right? Because, you know, I have my Brambleghast, which, like, sure, I can Poltergeist it, that could do a decent amount of damage, but obviously I don't really want to take a IV Cudgel. My Goldengo gets outsped and kind of bonked. My Fluttermane could get bonked. My Urshifu can hit it, right? But I have Sunny Day. I don't have Tailwind. So it's like, I was kind of thinking like, oh shoot, this actually looks really annoying. But I was thinking I could have done something with Urshifu, but I actually opted to not even lock it in for some reason inside of this game one, which I do end up regretting later on inside the set, and we will see that later. So right off the bat, I really wish that I led Fluttermane, but I didn't, so I decide I can go for an overheat onto their Fluttermane and go for a trade. Picking up the Fluttermane was pretty nice, but now I'm kind of thinking like, shoot, Ogerpon gets a free switch in here, and I kind of just allowed it. I don't really have enough tools to contest it, especially if they just go for a Terra Fire, then they're no longer weak to my Bleakwind Storm, and then they're able to just quickly kind of get off an Ivy Cudgel, and then I'm not really in a good position from the looks of it here. That was what was going on through my head, is that I need to be respecting this incoming Ogerpon. Here I was definitely expecting a Terra Fire from the Ogerpon. It's just really free because you're no longer weak to my Bleakwind Storm, you are now resistant to Overheat, so I was just like, shoot, it's very free for them. There was part of me that was like, you know, maybe they don't do it because they're a noob, it's low ladder, they might not identify that. But I ultimately ended up just locking an Overheat into the Murkrow just to ensure that if they do it, I can at least get off some solid damage to the Murkrow and then eventually just knock it out so they cannot get off a second Tailwind later on in the game. And around here, you can see my brother talking to me. As you can see, my head kind of turning, but the opponent did end up going for the Ivy Cudgel into the Tornadus, and they did not actually Terra, so I could have punished that by clicking Overheat, but I kind of gave them too much credit for low ladder. You know, that was a read, but honestly, if I were to do it all over again, I would have just overheated it, expecting them to not be able to identify that. And right here is where that Urshifu bring to the back would have been really cool. I ended up not bringing that, and here's where it kind of bit me in the butt. If I had Urshifu over Goldango, I would have been kind of in a fine position, but I was literally looking at game 2 at this point. I was like, okay, so how can I win this? So I definitely have to knock out Murkrow, otherwise a Tailwind comes out. Maybe if I can get like a crit or something like that, or if I like switch out, then like, I don't know, like maybe they go for a grass move, maybe they don't knock out my Fluttermane for some reason. I was just kind of trying to figure out a way. I knew I had to reset my Chi-Yu, and then there was like a non-zero chance where basically I kind of switch out, and then Fluttermane faints, and then I maybe get a flinch with Dark Pulse, or maybe I crit and overheat or something like that, but they ended up just kind of forfeiting, and you can see a little Happy Brady right there in the bottom right corner, just like, hey, we take those, we absolutely do take those past Brady, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the next game. So this next team was actually deceptively scary. I was looking at it and I was like, oh, like there's no way I lose to this, right? But what the opponent was kind of going for here was like, they lead like their choice scarf, like Lando, you know, probably try to U-turn, get into their Torkoal. I knew it was a Trick Room team, so I just kind of decided to go with my Tornadus. I could blow up the Indeedee if they do decide to do that, and that looks like their only Trick Room setter. So I just went ahead and locked in my Fluttermane and my Tornadus, and then I just went with Brambleghast and Chi-Yu in the back because Brambleghast is Sash. If Trick Room does get up, I could go ahead and live one Eruption and then kind of knock stuff out. And around here, I kind of just like get distracted from the game, start alt-tabbing out, take some notes, and kind of got stuck in the formatting. I should have just left it, but I wasted about like 20 seconds just like editing this. Like, you can see me just going back and forth. Like, no, it needs to be properly. There we go. Yeah, much better. I'll tab back out, back in the set. I have 20 seconds. Quickly, click, 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 click. And now we are in lead. So exactly what I was expecting, the Indeedee lead, because Trick Room team. Now, all I was thinking about is how can I eliminate this Indeedee as fast as possible. So there's really two ways I could do this. Number one is just Terra Fairy Moonblast it and combine that with the Bleakwind Storm, but that obviously is risky because it could miss. And number two is swap into Chi-Yu. So I could switch into Chi-Yu, but I was worried that maybe there could be a Terra Flying Terra Blast onto that slot, or they click Stomping Tantrum, or a Rock Slide, crit, I don't know, just something. So I just decided to risk it and just went straight for the Bleakwind Storm. Luckily, you know, we hit, and I was like, great, there's no more Trick Room setter. except for the fact that this Flutter Mane has Trick Room. Now, I did not notice this, so I just let it sit there, go for a passive play, and then boom, Trick Room is now up. I know there's a Torkoal in the back. You can see me all like, dang, really? Did that just happen? Yeah, it totally did just happen. Now I'm thinking like, okay, this is not ideal. Because, number one, I know they're going to switch in Torkoal here, and they also are locked in a Rock Slide, so I wasn't really worried about that. If I really wanted to, I could have gone for the Moonblast onto the Torkoal, but this Dazzling Gleam ended up helping me out a lot, as you're going to see here. So I kind of have two options. I could either go into my Bramblegast or into my Chi-Yu. Now, the reason why I end up going into Chi-Yu here is, for one reason, that's because I can protect. Just because I want to board a Bramblegast and Chi-Yu, so I'm willing to let Flutter Mane go down. But if I went to Bramblegast here, then I would have taken up an Eruption. The next turn I could not protect, and then that would have been very weird. So going into Bramblegast would have been a blunder. But I ended up going to my Chi-Yu, let my Flutter Mane kind of go down, and then I can get my Bramblegast, and then I'm able to lock down this Landorus with the Shadow Sneak, and then just click a Dark Pulse onto this Torkoal to pick up 2 knockouts this turn. Now, they do end up protecting their Torkoal, so they can have 2 Pokemon on the board next turn, which is kind of fine, because I preserve my Focus Sash on my Bramblegast. Now, the one thing I was kind of worried about is maybe if I miss this Overheat slash Poltergeist into this Flutter Mane on this upcoming turn, but as long as I connect one or the other, I should be fine. Which you can see at the bottom of the game, it is actually over, so that to me indicates that I hit them both, which you do see this turn, so... good game 1, now let's get into game 2. So this game 2, I decided to mix it up a little bit by going with Goldango and Chi-Yu. The logic is this can blow up in DD. However, honestly, I should not have done this because my game 1 worked completely fine. I was kind of trying to avoid that Rock Slide flinch my Flutter Mane. So obviously I'm running the Covert Cloak on my Tornadus, which means I can't be flinched by that Rock Slide. But if that had flinched my Flutter Manes like game 1, I could have easily have lost that. So I was trying to come up with some kind of way out of the box to where I could avoid that. However, as we see by their lead, they end up going with Roaring Moon and Flutter Mane, and this completely throws off my plans. So I was kind of looking at this, and I was just like, shoot. The one thing I can maybe do is like Terra steal my Goldango here and hope that I live this double up Shadow Ball plus the knockoff. However, with the Beads of Ruin active, the odds of that were like minuscule. They were like 0. I'm not very bulk invested. I'm very heavily, especially offensive. I do have a little bit of HP. I have like 204 on the spread, but it's not nearly enough, as we see. I just get knocked out here, so... Now, I do land my Overheat, so I traded 1 for 1, but not really my favor. This Chi-Yu cannot really touch the Roaring Moon because it resists both my stabs. Landorus kind of just comes in, and it's Choice Scarf, so my opponent really doubled down in the fast mode, did not go with the Trick Room, and it's not looking too good. I know they're going to double tap my Flutter Mane here, given the fact that I can knock out the Roaring Moon, and my Chi-Yu's at -2, so it's not a big threat, so I decided to protect and hope they decide to Terra Flying their Roaring Moon, and then I can just hit them with a critical hit Overheat. However, unfortunate for us, we did not get it. Now I'm kind of looking at this like, alright, the only way I can win is if I live this double up. If they Terra Flying their Roaring Moon, I believe I just get knocked down, 1 shot guaranteed. However, they didn't, and I ended up getting knocked out. I thought that may have been a roll or something, because they're speed boosting, not attack boosting, and also combined with the fact that my Flutter Mane is extremely bulky, I thought maybe I could live it. However, we ended up not being able to. I decided to click Protect, hoping I could bait them, click Power Whip, miss the Power Whip, and just go to the next game. So, game 3, straight up, I was feeling a little bit out of my head because I don't know why I mixed that up. I should have won like 2-0. Just given like this matchup, given how I won game 1, given how the matchup is, it should have been like in my favor. But I just decided not complicate it, so I just go with the exact same thing as I did in game 1. So they led with Roaring Moon this time. What's going on inside my head is I just need to prevent this Trick Room. Literally, as long as I click Terra Fairy Moonblast combined with the Bleak Wind, Storm, and assuming I connect, I should be able to stop this Trick Room and I should be able to win. So not only did I not connect, they also got a critical hit with the Acrobatics, and I was thinking like, shoot man, that was like kind of worst case scenario. But it's okay because they have a speed boosting Roaring Moon. I'm kind of like, alright, well, I do underspeed this with my Flutter Mane, meaning I outspeed in Trick Rooms, so this Dazzling Gleam should not knock out my Flutter Mane from there in DD. Get off a Dazzling Gleam, pick up 2 knockouts, and now I'm like, okay, no, this is fine. We can just do exactly what we did inside of game 1, where I get up my Bramblegast plus my Chi-Yu, and then they are not able to knock out both my Pokemon, and then I should be able to wrap this game up. So, like, here I'm kind of thinking of the ways I could probably lose the game. Really, it's just if I miss both my attacks. Now, like, assuming overheat connects, I just win 100%. If I miss the overheat, I do lose, though. So I was banking on that, and I was trying to think if there was, like, any way kind of around that. I don't really believe so. Maybe what I could have done is click, like, Dark Pulse, but then I still have to hit my Poltergeist. Overheat gets the one-hit knockout anyways. So I think it just all comes down to me just hitting overheat, which is a 90% accurate move, so I felt pretty confident that that would happen. So I just decided to double tap the Flutter Mane with the Poltergeist plus the overheat. On the off chance they decide to not actually Terra their Flutter Mane, then I'm able to just pick it up beforehand, then get off the overheat on the Torkoal, and then I should be pretty good and golden to win this game. You can also see my cat there for a second was on my table. She knows she's not supposed to be up there, so she's being a naughty girl right now. I had to move her quickly down, but, you know, we do connect this overheat. Now, it does not actually pick up the knockout because they do go for the Terra, but I do land this overheat. And now, they opted to not actually get rid of my Focus Sash on my Bramble Gas the previous turn, which allows me to stall this last turn of Trick Room successfully. And now we're out of Trick Room. I can click 200% accurate moves, being the Shadow Sneak and the Dark Pulse, and we are able to win this set 2-1. Now, this next set is actually a mirror match, which I had no idea I would run into this, first of all, this low of ladder, but second of all, I really had no idea how to play this because I just pick up this team. I know it's a good team because Amelia Forbes used that Worlds last year. James Beck just brought it to LAIC and did pretty good with it. I know Bramblegas brought by Andrew Ding as well, so I figure it's pretty good. However, I did not expect to run an exact mirror. And it's not very good because their Tornadus was Mental Herb, whereas mine is the Covert Cloak. And not to mention, my Tornadus is actually very slow because I have not optimized the ZV spreads. I'm probably going to be tweaking it before the next video, and I'll show you guys that. But basically, for right now, I'm just max HP, max defense because I don't really know what to do for a spread. I got kind of lazy. So they lead Tornadus and Urshifu up against my Flutter Mane and Tornadus. And, you know, I figured that I'm just going to go ahead and go for Sunny Day plus Moonblast because they don't know I'm slow, and then I'll be able to get this off. And this only loses if they go for the Terra Water and Taunt, which I didn't feel like they would do that turn 1. I should have gone for the Moonblast or like the Terra Fairy Dazzle maybe. I should have, not Terra Fairy Dazzle would not have knocked them out, but either way, I should have gone for like the knockouts, like the big gun, instead of just a Dazzling Gleam. But they knocked me out. And then I knocked them out in return with a Bleak Wind Storm on this upcoming turn. So it's a Tornadus versus Tornadus. I'm kind of like, okay, wait, we're in a great position. Because now all I got to do, I just need to go into my Chi-Yu here, and I can kind of just click a Heat Wave. And then I remembered, it's like, ah, shoot, no, I can't, because Bramblegas is actually immune to Heat Waves. So I was just thinking of ways like, all right, how can I set myself up for an Urshifu in-game? And you know, whenever you get that gut feeling that, you know, they're going to click a specific play, I was like, all right, so they probably don't know I have Urshifu in the back, and they are going to set up Rain Dance for me, and then I'll be kind of chilling. That's what was going on inside my head. I decided to go for a Bleak Wind Storm because I did not want to switch into a Bleak Wind Storm slash something else, but in hindsight, if I really knew they were going to go for Rain Dance, I should have just committed to switching into my Urshifu. But yeah, I didn't do that. Now here, like, for some reason I thought I was in a good position, but like, I'm really not. I'm kind of pinned where I can't really switch in my Urshifu because there's fairy coverage. If I can survive one turn with my Tornadus, I can get up a Tailwind, but I'm not really especially defensive, so the odds of that happening are like none. And especially with the Beads of Ruin, so it's very scary. But I end up just sacking my stuff, getting my Urshifu, and I was like, ah, shoot, man, I don't really know how I can win this. If I go for Aqua Jet and Bramblegas, I feel like I'm kind of pinned too. And I was like, well, okay, there is one way I can win. What if they just, like, don't click Power Whip into my Urshifu for whatever reason? Or, you know, it's like they don't attack my Urshifu. So I just decided to go for Terra Water, Surging Strikes onto the Flutter Mane, instead of going for the Aqua Jet, which does end up paying off, as you see right here. They end up attacking into my Chi-Yu, and then I'm able to go ahead and knock out this Bramblegas next turn with the Aqua Jet. Also, like, looking back at this game, they were at +2 when I was in Shadow Sneak range, so, like, they probably should have won this, honestly, but they did not click Shadow Sneak. So here I am, like, making a mental note, like, wow, okay. Got it. So Bramblegas is the key to the mirror. So I just have to play Bramblegas very smart. So I decide to lead with Tornadus and Bramblegas, and then decide to have Chi-Yu and Urshifu in the back. So they end up leading with Flutter Mane and Chi-Yu, and inside my head I'm thinking that, this is awesome. It's a free Tailwind plus a Poltergeist into the Fluttermane. However, as I am still shaking off the rust, I 100% forgot that Poltergeist does not work into a booster energy Fluttermane, so I kind of blow my turn 1, and it's not really ideal. However, I have never really been a defeatist, so I try to look at the better part of every single play. So I'm looking at this like, okay, well, yes, obviously, I just blew my turn 1. I could have gone for a Power Whip, gotten a knockout, not Terra, could have done a million different things, but I didn't. So I'm looking at this like, all right, well, look at the positives. You got a Tailwind, Brady, so that's not bad. What can you do here? Well, I know I can Surging Strikes into the Chi-Yu and knock it out, and I can also go for a Power Whip, expecting this Terra, so goodbye Fluttermane. And then this Surging Strikes comes out onto the Tornadus and get it down into a very low range. And now I'm like, all right, bro, this is over. This is 1,000,000% over. You just blew your Terra on that Fluttermane. You're getting Shadow Sneaked on your Tornadus. You are getting Surging Strike, my friend. And this is the whole video game just like that. So even though that turn 1 ended up kind of being not ideal from the looks of it, who really needs damage whenever you have the positioning, right? So now we have a Goldango up against my Urshifu and my Gourgeist, and we are able to just completely win this game. GGWP. Totally just realized I said Gourgeist. It's actually Bramblegeist. But either way, though, or no, it's Brambleghast. Either way, though, Brambleghast was the absolute GOAT here today. We end the score with a total record of 11-03, and we are 3-0 so far. So not a bad start to our series. However, we have a long way to go. I believe top of the ladder is around 1,700 right now, so we have a very long series ahead. By the way, the team I am using is inside of the description if you wish to copy it. And as a side note, if you want any of the spreads I used today, just feel free to follow me on Twitter. You can see right there, B Smithy, Brady Smith, BGC Corner. I post all my spreads I use there. So you see this is the Urshifu spread we used today. I also have my Goldango spread and my Fluttermane spread posted. So go ahead and give me a follow. I am running a challenge where I try to get you to qualify to day 2 inside of our regionals within 3 months. So thank you guys so much for watching until the very end. Talk to you later. Peace.